Greetings, everybody. My name is Clarrissa Schmal, and I have been teaching at Johnson County High School for 8 years now. I have recently been asked to um, share an assignment that I used to give my graduating seniors every year with the rest of you. I'm very excited to do that. So today we're going to be talking about the resume. The the resume, as how you pronounce it in French, which is originally where the word came from, means a summary, right? Or a list of all of the things that you have accomplished in your life in order to prepare you for education or the next step in the job search, right? So, um, I want to start today with the very first step in putting together a resume or list of your accomplishments. And I want to start by looking at this document over here. Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay, so this is just a simple template that you could use for yourself, and I'll be happy to share this with anyone who wants it. Um, I just put at the top accomplishments for resume, and then some tabs. So, for example, under date, I might list. Let me change this from bold and blue back to black. So, I might list, let's say, November 21st, 2021. And I might say that on that day I served in a local soup kitchen, right? And then, so that's a sentence or description of the type of accomplishment I did. I might add the building or the organization where the soup kitchen was held. For example, at the community center, right? And I would be specific probably and list, the name of that business. Okay. And then under documentation, what that would be for is what am I going to have to prove that I did that? And so that could be a certificate, that could be a paper copy of an award that you have won, or it could be a letter written by the person who, sponsored the event or that invited you to help. And so you might list, it's December, so we'll use incorporate Christmas in our resume, right? So Mrs. Claus invited me to, by email or by letter, to serve in this event on this date, right? So I have even if it's been 15 years ago, I have a list that I started compiling where I'm going to more easily remember, where to find documentation and how to remember those details. There are a few do's and don'ts about this part of developing a resume. And one is this versus that, be specific. So the more specific you are, the better. So let's say, for example, you're listing your strengths or your personal characteristics that would make you a solid choice, perhaps over someone else. And let's say you're really good at cooking, and that could come in handy if you're applying for a number of jobs, right? So, or culinary school, right? So you could put, I am a good cook, and that's good. Or you could put something way more specific, such as a specific skill under that umbrella. Like, I can bake 100 cupcakes from scratch to table in under an hour. That's going to get somebody's attention, and it's more believable. Not that you would, not that you would not be completely honest on a resume, but this is going to be way more believable and provable, such as in an interview set up to do that, um, or a contest of some sort, rather than this general statement that really doesn't define good. It doesn't have parameters, um, like the 100 cupcakes and under an hour has. Another example of, if I can just bring this all down together, there we go. Another example of general versus specific would be I am punctual versus the date of my perfect attendance award. And then, of course, the documentation would be the award itself. Give me just a second here. There we go. So that would be the certificate, for example. And this would be the, oh gosh. Here we go. Perfect attendance award, right? And then over here you would put you would put the date there, and over here you would put the organization that awarded you that perfect attendance, whether it was your high school on a particular year or whether it was, your employer, for example. Um, but again, being more specific about the proof, right? The proof, grandma always said the proof is in the pudding. The proof that you are punctual is way better than just a blanket statement without parameters, the parameters of the date, the award, and the word perfect. Another rule of thumb as you're gathering this list of accomplishments is please don't abbreviate. So, for example, if you're going to list the Mountain City Community Center, for example, don't stop there, right? Don't do something for reasons of not feeling like you have enough space, or that kind of thing. Like don't make that decision for the sake of convenience, because it's bound to confuse someone else. And when you're being specific, the last thing you want to do is counterbalance that with something confusing. So even if it's something that you have always known what it meant, and you know everybody in your community knows what that acronym stands for. For example, JCHS, right? Not a person in Mountain City, or I dare say Carter County, right, that doesn't know what JCHS stands for, Johnson County High School. But you never know where you're going to send an application when you hear about, for example, employment opportunity. So if you were to use the acronym JCHS as in where you got your high school diploma, which is of course an accomplishment, that you would want to list on a resume. Let's say that you would send this application for employment to Denver, Colorado. They would have the person reading your application would have zero clue as to what JCHS was. They might be able to figure out by context that it was some sort of educational organization, but they're not going to want to look for that, and you're not going to want to make them, right? So we want to write out everything we possibly can so that there is no misunderstanding. Okay. And finally, you want to list everything that you're doing in descending order. So let's see what the date of this perfect attendance award. So I had said, let's see if it'll let me copy and paste neatly here. This is actually perfect. There we go. So descending order is, of course, the first thing that you listed happened the most recently. So this was a couple of days ago, almost a week ago now, okay? And this happened in the same year, but several months prior. Most people are used to the opposite. Most people, when they make lists, make them from the first time it happened until now. And so the last thing that's listed is the last thing that happened. Excuse me, with a resume, you want to do just the opposite. So what that's called is descending order instead of ascending order. So the reason this is important is because when a prospective employer or person in post-secondary education, let's say, looks at a list of your accomplishments, the most important ones to them are not the ones that happened 10 years ago. They're going to be the ones that happened this year. Because, habits change. And so what is most important is your most recent habits and characteristics and accomplishments, so that they're more relatable and, quite frankly, employable into whatever employment or opportunity you're looking at. So that's going to be it for today. If you would make a list of any questions you have based on this presentation, and send them to cschmal@jocoed.net. I would be happy to answer your questions. So let's just go back here. Here we go. And let me just make that really, really big. Here we go. You can send any questions you have based on this short presentation to cschmal@johnsoncounty.education.net or jocoed.net. And it's been a pleasure talking with you today. And next time we will talk about what to do with that list and how to start organizing it to create the resume. Y'all have a blessed day.